Hello, hello, and welcome back to the Pure Nintendo Podcast. This is your weekly dose of all things Nintendo. My name is Jemma, and joining me this week, who am I going to introduce first? Welcome back, Kirk. How are you this week?
You're not going to introduce the talking flower first? I thought maybe I was going to be replaced. I'm glad to hear I'm still welcome.
Yes, indeed. Yes, he was a decent replacement for a week, but you're much.
Oh yeah, I thought he did a great job.
He did, and we got a nice comment about that as well. Thank you, Jose, who also has a talking flower, but he's collecting it more in the box. So whereas I'm like pressing the button, making him talk all the time. And welcome back, Trev. How are you this week?
Hey. Yeah, I'm doing okay. I think we should save the talking flower for what do they call it? Sweeps week, or when we need a boost in listeners.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Mario Wonder does come out this week, right? The Switch 2 edition on the 26th. So we could bring him back next week to just chime in when we talk about that game, I guess.
Uh-oh.
But he's sitting right next to me. It's just I've turned him down because you never know when he's going to interrupt. And it's like, it's cute. I like it. Like I do. I really like it. But for the purposes of the show, we'll just let him be silent this week. So, listeners, tell us if you want us to turn it back on next week and if you want him to interrupt, because we can do that. But we have a lot of news to cover. We're back with Kirk's Corner since Kirk's returned. Your internet's working okay this week? Touch wood.
So far, well, we don't have the windstorm. It was the windstorm.
Yeah. We also have a healthy list of games we're playing. So let's start with some news, because the Switch 2 had a major update, firmware update this week called 22.0.0.0, and it brings a new handheld boost mode for Switch games specifically, which is pretty neat. Did you guys see this? Did you try this? How do you feel about this? Anyone got any opinions?
I saw that it was out. I
Mhm.
saw some screen captures of people saying, here's the difference, and the difference was so minute to me, at least within those screen captures, that I didn't bother. Plus, I tend to play docked mode.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go back to Talking Flower. He knows the terminology.
Yeah.
I play dock mode most of the time, so I haven't had a chance to try it out on the handheld Switch.
Yeah, fair enough. What do you think, Trev?
I have not tried it out either. I do play a fair amount of handheld mode. At least when I'm playing on my own. If I'm playing with Jen, we'll play on the TV, obviously. But I have not tried it out yet. And I was curious because I was reading like Nintendo's page where they're describing it, and it's just somehow mimicking like dock mode, because it said like touchscreen controls may not work, or like battery consumption may be more extreme. Like I was wondering exactly how it works. I guess I don't know much beyond just that it's an option.
Yeah, well, that's pretty much it. I think you've sort of touched on it really there, because that's exactly what it does. It does mimic docked mode. So it's like playing a Switch game on your TV, but on your Switch 2. Like the Switch 2 is the TV, I guess, in this case, and it just bumps up whatever, because you know how the resolution is better in docked mode than it is on handheld mode. So that's all it's really doing. And yeah, but that also affects the touchscreen. I did try it because I had to try it, of course, but I didn't notice much difference. But the game I was playing was Mini Shoot Adventure, so it's not like the most graphically intense game. It looked fine to me, but it also looked fine to me beforehand. So it maybe ran a little bit smoother, I guess, but it already ran pretty smoothly. So, but it's nice. I think it's a good thing to have. And I mean, if it does, maybe some games like perhaps Metroid Prime 4, the Switch edition, might look better, or Pokemon Legends ZA maybe would look better in handheld mode. I don't know. I don't have the Switch version of like those two games. So yeah, like you, Kirk, I saw some screenshots online. It did look crisper, I guess. So I think it's a nice option. You can toggle it on and off. It's just in your settings there. So it's pretty easy to do. I've turned it on and I'll probably just forget that it's on, and then one day I'll play a Switch game and the touchscreen won't work, and I'll be like, why is the touchscreen not working?
Does it stay on by default, or like will it shut off when you power down?
Don't know. I think it probably stays on. That's a good question though. I don't know. I'll check if mine's still on. I haven't powered it down though, and I tend not to. I just put it in sleep mode unless it forces a restart. I don't tend to power it down.
Yeah. Well, I guess I meant like in sleep mode. Would it reset it, or yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm
that's a really
trying
good
to think of
question.
a game that looks really bad or like substantially worse in handheld mode compared to docked, and I don't like. I know there's differences, but for
Mm.
my middle-aged eyes, I don't know if I can
Yeah.
get enough of a difference. I bet you this is a feature probably the younger players appreciate more,
Yeah,
who have
probably.
grown
Yeah.
up in the era of frame rate chatter and all this stuff.
Mhm.
And I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's it. Let us know, listeners, what you think. If you've tried it, if you've noticed a difference, that would be neat.
Or
I
if
think
there's games you recommend trying
yeah,
it out on,
true.
'cause I'm sure there's certain games that would take more advantage of it than others.
Yeah, I think one of the screenshots I saw was a Donkey Kong game. Might have been Donkey Kong Country Returns HD, whatever it is. And I'm like, how do you know that these screenshots are real anyway? People could be purposely. Oh, that's a bit negative, isn't it?
It's fair though. I mean,
Yeah.
It's the internet, isn't it?
Everything's a conspiracy.
Yeah. It's all AI, deepfake. Anyway, let's move on. The next GameCube title that has come out for the Switch Online Classics has been released, and it is one we knew was coming. They announced it during Pokemon Presents last month. It is Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness, which I'm interested in. I think Trev is probably interested in. Trev, did you download it?
I did.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know if I should talk about it now or if I should save it more towards the end of the episode because
I reckon let's do it now, just to
okay.
break it up. What do you think? Because we've got quite a few games we're talking about later on as well.
All right, yeah, fair enough. I was excited for this one because I missed it, even though I was a GameCube kid or young adult.
Mm,
This is one I never picked up because I wasn't into Pokemon at the time, and if I was to pick it up nowadays, it's I'm not going to spend a couple $100
mm.
on a game. I'm going to play it on emulation here through Switch Online. So I was excited for that, and for people who are interested, to expand its audience, because the GameCube wasn't a massive success. It was better than the Wii U, but
Mm.
anyway, um, I really like this game. I really do. It's I hope I can articulate why, because I'm not a Pokemon expert by any means, but having played like the trio of like the mainline 3DS games and a couple of the games on Switch, um, they all sort of have that comfort food feeling, right? It's that similar flow. You work your way from town to town and you get your badges, and there's a lot of the same story beats, a lot of the same visual nods, which isn't a bad thing, right? Because you know what you're getting.
Mhm.
But Gale of Darkness for me really feels different. It feels like instead of playing a Pokemon game, it feels like playing an RPG game, like a what I think of as a traditional RPG game with Pokemon elements.
Mm.
To be fair, I'm only a couple hours in, but just it's everything really. The way it looks, the GameCube visuals are. The GameCube had such a great like graphical chipset. It's got a really unique look, and I feel like the scenes are more memorable. Even a couple hours in, like I'm going to instead of a village with like the same repeating buildings, right? I'm like in this, tree village with like these senior citizens, and I'm like dodging behind waterfalls and through these caves, and I'm like, this is so cool. This looks like it could be from, some lost RPG, Lost at Times, but
Ooh.
it's here in a Pokemon game, and yeah, I don't know if that makes a whole lot of sense. I can see why people who grew up with the portable games maybe aren't quite as into this because you're not getting a party right away, right? I'm a couple hours in. I only have two Pokemon in my party because that's just the way the story's flowing. But
Mm.
I would recommend this to anyone who's less about battling and collecting and more into the RPG elements. Like I think Kirk probably would really like this game
That's
just
what
because
I
it
was
feels more,
thinking.
yeah, feels more
Yeah.
traditional.
And it's a game I don't have to pay to play, so maybe I will try it.
Yeah, that's true. Exactly. It's just there on the Switch Online. That's awesome, Trev. I love that. I have tried it as well. I haven't got as far as you. I just sort of maybe 1 hour in. I do have 2 Pokemon though, so that's interesting. I guess you don't get another one for a while because you
Well,
get
yeah,
that.
the whole idea is like you're doing like instead of capturing, Pokemon, like in the wild, right? It goes against the grain. You're capturing them in battle, which
Yeah.
you can't steal from a trainer. But
Mhm.
these are like shadow Pokemon that you're trying to restore or heal. I
Mhm.
don't know if I'm explaining that well or even correctly for that matter, but
Yeah, 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 it makes sense. I mean, it makes sense to me, but although I have played it, so I do understand. But yeah, they're shadow. They're kinda corrupted in some way, I suppose, and they're called shadow Pokemon. And yeah, this device that the professor gives you allows you to, catch them during a battle, which is unusual, but it is
yeah,
a thing in this game. So
it is. And
yeah.
I mean, it's slower, but I'm digging it because I'm kind of getting into the story, and I feel like the NPC characters, I actually want to talk to them instead of just having them say the same like random sentences. Characters actually look different. They don't look like it's
Mm.
the same models being recycled over and over.
Yeah, that's true.
Um, but then again, I looked at the reception this game got back in the day, and it was more mixed. So maybe
Mm.
people don't like changes. Maybe they like that formula. You know, knowing
Could
what to
be.
expect. I don't know.
But then Pokemon Pokopia has done very well, which is a big
Mm,
change to the
that's
formula.
true.
Maybe people just weren't ready for Gale of Darkness at the time. Now is its time to shine. I don't know. It'll get a resurgence on the
I'm
Switch Online
ready for it.
Classics.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep
Yeah,
playing that in between review games because
nice.
I'm really enjoying it. I hope you guys. Well, you're already checking it out. I hope Kirk checks it out too because I'd be curious what he would think just from the perspective of an RPG gamer.
Mm. Yeah, I think you're right. And as I said, I'm not as far into it as you are, but it definitely has a different feel to it than the other games that I've played. So, which is a good thing, just for variety's purpose. Yeah, and I like the story so far. There's the sister who's playing hide and seek, and then there's the professor who gets whisked away by someone. And that's not a spoiler, sorry. This is a 20-odd-year-old game, and this is very early into the game.
Yeah,
And I think it's about a 20 or 30-hour game, actually. Like, it's got a pretty decent runtime from what I've heard online. So it's yeah, there's a lot to it, which is cool. And I really like that your main Pokemon is Eevee. I think that's great too.
yeah.
Yeah, because
I feel
Eevee's
like a lot of the Pokemon I've run into like are maybe not as like obviously I knew Eevee, but
mhm.
I feel like a lot of the other Pokemon I run into, I'm like, do I recognize them? Like maybe I
Mm.
haven't seen them so much in more of the recent games, so I don't know if that's actually a thing, but I
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah, I agree. Some of the ones in the sort of that main HQ building, whatever, the lab, I recognize some of those. Like there's a Psyduck and a few others. But yeah, in battles, I'm like, I don't know this Pokemon. So yeah, which is cool. I love seeing new Pokemon. That's great. I'm really glad you like it, Trav. That's awesome. That's really cool. We'll see if Kirk gives it a go. Listeners, let us know if you're playing it or have played it in the past. I certainly missed it originally as well at the time on the GameCube. So I'm happy to give it a go. I'll try to keep playing it as well. I don't know how much I'll get through it, but I'll try because I never got back to Chibi Robo either. So
Oh no.
I know I have this long list of games that I need to get back to, and I don't want this to just be one of them. But we'll see. We will see.
You know what? Not to get off topic,
Yeah.
but here's a hypothetical for you guys because everyone's always talking about their backlogs, right?
Hmm.
Say today we're recording this March 20th, and this is the end of gaming as we knew it. There was never going to be a brand new game for the rest of our lifetime. Do you think you could play your backlog, play existing games in your collection, and be okay?
Wow. Does it include all games made up until this point, or only ones that you've purchased and downloaded?
No, yeah, you could any game that exists prior
Okay.
to today, you could add to your collection, like old games, but just nothing brand new.
Right.
I think I'd have plenty to play. I really
I
do.
think I do actually, like, I do. It
Not
might
saying I
take
would be happy with it. Obviously, I want new stuff, but I think
yeah,
I'd have more than enough to play across.
yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, it could last a long time, years and years, honestly, and at some point, you might be like, "I want something fresh," but I definitely have plenty to play, like all the Resident Evils. I've only really played 7, so that's just there's one instance. All of the Pokemons that I haven't played previously because I got into it late like you, the games.
I could go to Kirk's basement and play in television.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I also have the Intellivision Sprint, and there's a surprising number of games on there I've never played. So, yeah.
Mm.
Wow.
Mhm. That would be an interesting scenario. That would be a different take on an apocalyptic, post-apocalyptic movie. Where
Yeah.
everything's
right.
fine. Everything's fine in the world. It's just there's no more new games.
Instead of scrounging for food and shelter, everybody's, trying to get their hands on gaming systems to keep themselves entertained.
Yeah. Yes.
Copyright Pure Nintendo 2026.
Yes, thank you. That's awesome. Cool. Well, let's move on to some more news then. There's this, everyone knows I like Vampire Survivors. I didn't know about this until yesterday, but there's a new spin off coming, which I don't know, looks a bit interesting. It's called, what is it called? It has a crazy name Vampire Crawlers, the Turbo Wildcard from Vampire Survivors. That's the name. Do you like that one, Trev? I know you like your long titles.
Yeah.
Maybe they could have just called it Vampire Crawlers. Anyway, it's coming out on the 21st of April, and that's the news that recently dropped is the release date. It is coming out for Switch 1 and 2, as well as other systems, I believe. And it's Vampire Survivors is, a game about surviving in a roguelike sort of situation. This is like a card deck building dungeon crawler something. Just the trailer doesn't exactly explain it. It's a bit of a funny trailer, but it is a deck builder. So you get cards and you use them to defeat enemies, essentially. I don't know how it's going to be or what it's going to be like. I'm not really super into deck builders, so I'll give it a go, I suppose. I really like Vampire Survivors, so that intrigues me, but I don't know if this will convert me into deck building or not.
Is that what the genre is, or subgenre, whatever it's called, deck building?
Yeah, as far as I'm aware. You
Okay.
guys, you know that. Kirk, are you familiar with that?
Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard of just tactical card games.
Yeah, okay. Yep. Yeah, I've just got limited experience. I'm not against them or anything. They have their place. I know they can be very popular. I played one at PAX last year, an indie title that was a deck builder. It was quite fun. I just haven't interacted with them that much for some reason. So,
That's your post-apocalyptic genre.
yeah. I can catch up on all the deck building that I've missed out on. So yeah, it's apparently quite cheap as well. It'll be $9.99, which is a nice price. Which probably gives you an idea of how big it is. I mean, Vampire Survivors is not not an expensive game either. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what that's like in April. I will probably try it. So we'll see when we get back to that. When that comes out, when I try it, I'll report on it. That could have been a Kirk's Corner, actually, I suppose, couldn't it? Sorry, Kirk. It is an upcoming game announcement.
Yeah, could have had that in there.
Could have had that. Yeah, cool. I think I'm the only one of us that is an aficionado for Vampire Survivors. Neither of you have tried it, is that correct?
I have not.
Nope.
One day, maybe in this post-apocalyptic world, there you go. That's one for you. So,
Maybe the deck building one will attract people who would have overlooked it.
maybe. It's in my, if I look at my Switch, and Switch 2 titles, you can order them by time played. It's up there. It's not like in the top 10, but it'd be in the top 20, I reckon, Vampire Survivors. So I did notice it the other day when I was looking through the list.
That'd be a fun thing to do one day on a slower episode if we ever have one, to talk like what our most played games are.
Yeah, that's actually a really good idea. I like that. Moving on, the next piece of news is a Switch 2 battery revision is possible. I suppose this is specifically for Europe, but they're talking about a revision to the Switch 2 with a replaceable battery, according to Nikkei. Trev, what do we know about this story?
Not a whole lot. I just saw it actually the morning that we're recording is when I saw it. I don't know how old the news is. It's this week anyway. But I think it's a good idea because of course, it's not going to maybe impact me being in North America. But maybe it will. I mean, who knows if they're going to end up having to do a revision? Maybe they'll do it worldwide. I think game systems should have more user serviceable parts because, let's face it, Nintendo is eventually going to stop supporting these, right? Like if we want our Wii U or 3DS fixed, you gotta just fend for yourself, left to your own devices to find somebody who can fix it or try it yourself and risk damaging these things, especially for something like a battery. I feel like
Yeah.
that's just something that people should have the option to be able to swap out. And of course, the Switch kind of did it ugly, right? Because it's really buried in the innards,
Mhm.
and it's not like on 3DS where you can unscrew a plate off the back and go from there. So I think it's good. I think it's good for the consumer. I don't know how it's going to affect Nintendo, if it's going to add any girth like to the system, but um, yeah, I don't want to
Yeah.
speculate too far ahead. But I
Yeah.
just think it's good for the player, the average player.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely. I didn't realize that I guess it wasn't accessible because I've never really looked for it. But I suppose it makes sense, like, you look at the back of the Switch, it's not there's no easy way to get the panel off there.
Yeah,
But
I mean it's
apparent
brand new, right? We don't
yeah.
think of it now because it's
Yeah,
brand
that's
new,
true. Yeah. I mean, I've
But like
never had to replace a battery in a Nintendo handheld before, but that's not to say that other people haven't. And of course, it was easier before the Switch apparently. Other
when's
handhelds
the
were
last
easier.
time you guys played 3DS?
The last time?
Yeah, either of you. I'm just
Uh,
curious.
Probably 2 years ago, maybe?
And Kirk?
Couple months ago, maybe.
Okay. Because like me, I still play my 3DS fairly often,
Mhm.
and if I don't have it plugged in, it does. The battery drains pretty quick. Like I noticed
Mm.
the little indicator, will get lower and then it will turn to red before too long.
Yep.
So I haven't swapped the battery, but it's in my head. Obviously, the Switch 2, under best circumstances, doesn't have an ideal battery for handheld play, right?
Mhm.
So when people are gonna, eventually be thinking about that, it's nice to have that option and not have to send
Yeah,
it to Nintendo just to get a battery replacement.
that's true. And batteries do weaken over time, like phones are renowned for it, After a couple of
Mhm.
years, your phone doesn't like last as long as it did when it was brand new, and I suppose it's the same thing for handhelds, really. It's interesting because it's akin to what happened in 2022, where EU rules forced manufacturers to standardize phone chargers. Because I didn't really know this, but I mean, I knew that Apple devices had different chargers. They had that lightning, whatever it's called, lightning cable, whatever it is,
Yeah, but yeah,
and yeah, and now we're seeing USB-C in almost every device. Is that in the US as well, or is that just me seeing that in Australia?
iPhones, what are we on? 17? Maybe going back to 16, 15? I can't remember when, but yeah, they made the switch. And iPads too are now all
Mm,
USB C.
yeah, it's so handy that everything is the same because, like, my laptop, my phone, my Switch, all use USB-C. So as long as I've got a strong enough power source, I can charge anything with one more or less charger. It makes it way easier. So that's a really good thing. So I think, yeah, like you said, Trev, this is a great idea to help consumers. So we'll see if that actually becomes a thing, and whether it's a new version, like you said. Maybe I guess they'd have to make it as part. If they forced them, would it be across the world then, or would it just be for Europe? And does it force them to then, like, obviously they've got a production line and they're making Switch 2s right now. They'd probably have to factor it into a new revision or addition or something. How long would it take to get out of out into the market? I don't know. And
Yeah, I'm wondering if they would do because that's Nintendo, right? Every couple of years, there's a revision.
mhm, mhm.
Switch 2 Lite, a Switch 2 OLED, a
Yeah,
Switch 2 whatever. I don't know.
yeah, interesting.
I wonder why on this
Mm.
they would go after Nintendo, but not Apple for battery replacement because it's the same with iPhone batteries, iPad batteries, MacBook batteries. You have
Mm.
to send it off or have the right tools and the know-how or a really detailed YouTube video in order to replace a battery. So why would they go after the Switch 2, but they wouldn't go after
Mm.
the iPhone unless they are, and it's just not mentioned in this article. But
I think maybe this is it says it's a European Union rule around the ability for owners to replace batteries in consumer electronics. So perhaps it is across all devices. And the article we're referring to on Nintendo Life is where is our source here. Is this is the Switch 2 portion of that, but maybe it's any device, kind of like the phone situation, the USB-C charger. I don't think that was specifically targeted at Apple, but I think Apple was the one that had to change the most.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
So
maybe
yeah,
other
good point.
companies are implementing these changes and Nintendo is dragging their feet.
Could
Because
be
that ruling was, what, a couple of years ago?
with the
And
chargers. Oh, sorry,
when
with
we're
the
talking about
the
it
chargers.
now.
Yeah.
So
I
I
don't
could
know.
see Nintendo maybe just being a Johnny come lately and
Could
not
be.
doing it until the law absolutely requires it to, because
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
Nintendo.
Yeah. Very well could be. Thank you. That's very interesting. We'll see what happens with that one. I suppose, yeah, I would imagine it's just built into a new revision. If there's something that's asking them to do it legally, I think Nintendo is going to have to comply, just like Apple did with the chargers. We'll see if Apple also does so with, with the battery, makes it easier to replace. Yeah, interesting. It's funny how technology, improves, but some things kind of go backwards a little bit. So and then you have to keep forcing these big companies to make changes for the better. Anyway.
And we don't think about these things until it hits us and
Yeah,
our
exactly.
system dies or,
Yeah, that's it. Like I said, I've never thought of it because I've never had to replace a battery. But as soon as I do, I'll be like, wait, how do I do that? That's going to be really hard. Or send it off, like you said. You have to send it off to Nintendo, which, how long does that take? I assume it's a pretty long turnaround time, like
I
4
don't
to
know. I
four
mean,
to
I
8 weeks
sent
or
my
something.
Joy-Cons in
Yeah.
when they were drifting, and that was reasonably quick, but then again, had been doing that, so they probably
Mhm.
had like a fine oil machine at that point in time.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Cool. Well, let's look at the latest music to hit Nintendo Music. And this week's update or last week's update was Super Metroid was added to the app, the music app. Did you give this one a listen, Trev?
I did.
Me too. What did you think?
Well, it's interesting. I like Super Metroid's music, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's one of those soundtracks where it really works best when I'm playing it and I can take in the atmosphere and hear the sound effects. There are certain game tunes that I can listen to no matter what. If I'm walking, if I'm driving, if I'm doing housework, I can have them on in the background and get into it. But
Mm-hmm.
listening to this while I was, I think I was taking, maybe I was writing a review for Pure Nintendo or something. I
Mm-hmm.
found it didn't work quite as well because I'm listening and I'm trying to, I'm like, I want to see what scene this is taking place in. And
Yeah.
so it's weird in that way. I don't think it's a bad quality soundtrack by any means. I think it's really good,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know if I can enjoy it so much in the app. I think I have to be playing the
Mm.
game.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. I tend to agree. I did listen to it as well while I was working yesterday, and it was fine as background music, and it is a good soundtrack, like you said. But it wasn't as good for that purpose, like sitting in the background while I'm doing something else, another task, as other soundtracks have been. And I think maybe it's because like some songs were better than others, as in some are more soundscapey or longer. But then you've got the other maybe that are just like a boss fight or I don't know, they're just a bit like you said, it's almost it's too close to the game in some ways, or it's too tied to the game. So it's great for playing and it gives you that atmosphere and that feeling and emotions, whatever. But it didn't quite do the same for me while I was working. It was more of a distraction, I suppose. Yeah.
Mm.
So I get that. I get that. Still very good, and I still listen to it. But I probably didn't listen to it all the way through. At some point after, I don't know how long the soundtrack was, but I got maybe halfway through, and then I'm like, yeah, I don't really feel like listening to this anymore while I'm working. It's
Mm.
not helping.
You know what I did end up listening to, and it's
Mm-hmm.
not in the notes,
Mm-hmm.
but Nintendo also released a playlist of tracks that had vocals,
Oh, did they? Cool.
and I checked that out, and I realized that I tend to not like video game music that has lyrics, with a few
Right.
exceptions.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm like, of course, half of the songs were in Japanese anyway, right? So I'm like, I
Yeah.
had it on the
Yeah.
background, and my wife's like, "Are they all in Japanese?" I'm like, "No." I'm like, "Not all of them, but there's a lot of them." And yeah, I just like the orchestrations. I don't really like the again, with a few exceptions. I don't like lyrics in video game music. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, I did see that playlist because I was looking for the Super Metroid one, and it wasn't first on the app, and I'm like, "Where's Super Metroid?" I had to scroll for it, and I didn't even really pay much attention to what was added after that. But you're right, it's got sort of Kirby Air Riders, Yoshi's Story, Tamagotchi Collection. There'd be a lot of a Splatoon, of course, Splatoon 2. I know Kirby Air Riders definitely has some pretty cool Japanese vocals, but like pretty electronic poppy sort of stuff. That's quite fun. But yeah, it's a different kind of feeling, isn't it? When you've got
Mm,
yeah.
I gotta tell you,
Mhm.
I was excited for Tamagotchi Life, but I
Mhm.
don't like the whatever type of language they use, the me speak or
Yeah.
that Animal Crossing s kind of chirpy noise. It's like,
Oh, that's funny. Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe and then ironically, this is what Kirk this is what gets Kirk to download the Nintendo Music app is
The
the
Japanese
Tamagotchi.
tunes.
Yeah. No comment.
Um, yeah, no, I think what you guys said about Super Metroid is how I feel about pretty much the vast majority of gaming soundtracks.
Mm.
I like listening to them during the game, but outside the game, they tend to not appeal to me. Lyrics or not. I think Trevor also makes up his own lyrics, and that's why he doesn't like it when it comes with lyrics. They interfere with his creativity.
Yeah. Yeah.
I, I, um, I'll be talking in legal speak here. I can neither confirm nor deny Kirk's allegation.
All right. Well, thank you for that. Let's move on to Kirk's Corner. What do you have for us this week?
Oh boy, this is one I'm ready to go on this
Yeah?
one. This one goes back to my youth. This goes back to 1986. This may be the oldest remake, the
Wow.
remake of the oldest game that I've ever covered. Because when I was in college, and the first computer I ever purchased, I bought off a friend of mine. It was an Apple II GS. It came with some games, great games, like Gnarly Golf was one of them I loved. Pirates, I loved. Simiant, but one of the best games that came on it was called Defender of the Crown. And that, at the Future Game Show, I think it was announced that this is being re released. A full ground up remake is
Wow.
coming out for this game in 2026.
That's awesome. A full remake. So what does that entail? Do we know?
Yes, it is coming with, well, there are 3 game modes, first of all. And these are all great. There's a retro mode, which is going to look like the 1986 original. It says it features a near perfect authenticity with modern stability. And they keep referring to this as an Amiga game. I played it on the Apple II GS. I'm assuming the visuals will be comparable. And then there's classic mode, which will be a modern reimagining with a new visual identity and smoother mechanics. So I think that'll be the way most people play it now. Although I do recommend going back to retro mode because when I was playing this game, it must have been about 89, 90 by the time I got my hands on it. And it was one of the best looking games that was out there then.
Mm.
Um, really, really good looking retro graphics. There's a brand new kingdom mode. And this is what it says here. Again, we're going back to a couple terms we've talked about earlier today. It introduces a dice driven roguelike adventure where players build tactical decks and manipulate rolls to shape the outcome of procedurally generated campaigns.
Cool.
I don't even know exactly what that means.
Yeah.
That sounds great.
It does.
It's another deck builder.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and the gameplay in this was it was kind of it's you're building a kingdom. You start as a lord. Is that what they called him? Like a Saxon lord, and you had to
Mhm.
build up your army, and you had to engage in jousting tournaments to get land. Or there were sword fights where you would like sneak into castles. You would bombard castles. You could talk to Robin Hood and get his help.
Cool.
I don't think he was a character you could play, but he was like, yeah, just do this. Okay, thanks. Thanks for all the help.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was a lot of fun. I played it multiple times through. It was I recall it being a very short game. Again, it was a very long time ago, so who knows how
Mm.
accurate I am with my memories at this point.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's being remade. There is a trailer out, and it's not on the Nintendo eShop yet, but you can learn more about it on Steam. And yeah, I recommend it. I think gamers of a certain age, when they see this title, are going to lose their minds like I did.
That's awesome. This is interesting because Trev and I did talk about retro games brought back to the modern age. And I guess Trev is probably going to talk a bit more about that in the games we're playing later, Mega Man. This maybe is a good example of a classic game that's brought back to life and given the treatment where it's got the, the original mode playable and then also this kind of enhanced or revamped or redone mode, whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
Is that how you would prefer to see these types of games?
Yeah, I think if you're not changing the gameplay, I mean, if you're rebuilding it and completely redoing it, you mentioned it last week with like Yars.
Yeah. Yars Rising.
Yeah, see, in mine it was what, Yars Attacks or Yars Revenge? I think it was
Yeah.
Yars Revenge was the original Atari game.
Mm-hmm.
I like the way they worked that in. If you're completely redoing it, yeah, then it makes sense to not bother. But if it's like the Tomb Raider games, where we mentioned they upgraded the graphics a bit, but you could flip back at any time to the original, more pixelated approach, and yeah, I think that's fun.
Yeah, very cool. Thank you. So we don't have a release date; it's just 2026 for that one. Is that right?
Yeah, and it looks like also they're hoping for 2026.
Okay.
So yeah, we'll see if we get there, but it's definitely a game I'll be keeping my eye on. So I'll keep everyone updated.
Thank you. And is it Switch 1 or 2, or we're not sure? Or both?
Switch. Yeah, Switch 1.
Okay, interesting. So 1986, that means that's quite the anniversary then this year.
Yeah, if it comes, 40th anniversary if they hit this year.
Yeah, very cool. Love that. I thought I'd try. We have Kirk's Corner as a segment. I wondered if we could have like a demo desk segment.
Hold on, Jemma. Hold that thought.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I want to talk about this game too.
I'm sorry. Please continue. Please continue, Trev.
I am a little bit younger than Kirk, but I remember this game as well.
Really?
I was
cool.
a younger kid, and this was I think I first played it on an Amiga 500 that a friend had, and it introduced me. Was it Cinemaware? Was that the company?
Yes. Yep. Good call.
And I liked it so much, I ended up getting the NES cartridge, which of course didn't look nearly as good, but it still captured a lot of the gameplay. I later got it on a little system called the CDI. If you know what that is, kudos to you. People probably know it for having those lousy Zelda games and Hotel Mario. But yeah, so I own actually 2 copies of this game, and I echo a lot of what Kirk said. I was never very good at it, but it's fun to experiment. I think it would let you pick like different characters. Like some would be better for like the jousting parts, and then some would be better for like raiding the castles. And I'm excited about this. I'm excited that it's going to have the original look, which Kirk's absolutely right. It was just mind blowing. I feel like all those Cinemaware games were very ahead of their time. And so, yeah, I didn't know anything about this until Kirk put it here, but I'm excited for it as well.
That's great. That's really cool. Thank you, Trev. I didn't know, that it was on the NES either. Did you know that?
It also, it came out on the GBA too.
Yeah. How's that?
See, I don't think I knew that.
That's very interesting. I wonder if that was a straight port. I guess it would have been, right? At the time? I don't know. Or would it be?
Could they have done it? I'm trying to think. Like some of the game elements, they would have had to change some of it, especially on the Game Boy Advance, in order to really make it work, I believe. I remember using the keyboard quite a bit, so may have changed some elements, but I don't know. Like I said, I only played it on the 2GS.
Yeah. So you still have your NES copy, Trev?
I do. I probably actually, if I had to guess, I'd say probably in the past 18 months or so, I played it.
Wow. That's neat.
And I was still terrible at it, just like when I was a kid. I don't think I had the manual, so a lot of it is just trying to remember what's going on. But it was just so cinematic to my young brain.
Cool.
And it was like all those games. I think Pirates you mentioned, I think that was maybe the same company. And I just, they were awesome to have these like PC games brought into the console realm. So
yeah, that's brilliant. And it looks like, that's probably worth a fair bit, that NES copy that you have.
I don't know. those PC conversions maybe weren't the most popular with NES kids
Hmm.
who were more into like Contra or Zelda or like action adventure, but
Yeah, which means it's rarer though
no,
when you
maybe.
have. So
I think it was maybe Konami or Ultra, which was Konami's label. I think published it in the NES.
Okay. Well, that's a good segue into the demo desk because there is a demo for something called Darwin's Paradox, which is a Konami game, actually.
Ah,
Yeah. So I had not heard of this game until last week when I saw that there was a demo available, even though the demo has been available for a couple of weeks. I don't know why it was in my newsfeed. I thought it was new, but it's a couple of weeks old. I thought Trev would be interested because it's got a what is it? Metal Gear Solid thing happening. Is that a Konami series?
Metal Gear.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So in the demo, so Darwin's Paradox is an upcoming game coming to, I think, all consoles on April the 2nd. It's a Switch 2 game, not a Switch 1 game. Apparently, it was originally going to be a Switch 1 game. They've moved to Switch 2. It's where you play as an octopus, and it's kind of they call it 2.5D, I think. But it's a side-scrolling platformer, but it's got that depth. A bit like Prince of Persia, that one from a couple of years ago. That was
Mm-hmm.
really, like that style. So the demo is available. I think it's just a part of the game, maybe the intro, maybe the first level or chapter, or whatever you want to call it. And I played through it, which is why we're talking about it. But it's really interesting because for a couple of reasons. First of all, the demo, it's kind of you're sneaking around, and they're calling it a Metal Gear Solid based level where you wear a snake outfit. Is that the guy's name from Metal Gear Solid?
Yep.
Snake?
It
Yeah.
is.
I'm not super across Metal Gear Solid, if you can't tell, but I know you guys are. So yeah, there's kind of an homage to that game, which I think is pretty neat. And in the demo, you're playing as the octopus. You can't really attack. You can only one of the buttons lets you adapt kind of a camouflage to the area, so you're hiding a lot. You're moving between lights. There's guards around, so you have to kind of dodge them. They're walking backwards and forwards with torches. If you get spotted, you basically die. The guards come and squash you as if you're just a bug, not an octopus. It's pretty. I'm like, the first time it happened, I'm like, they just squished an octopus? Like, it's a pretty decent sized octopus. Like, it's not a tiny thing. It's just like splat. Okay. So you have to avoid all of these things, and then you go into the water and you have to avoid machines. There's some pretty clever mechanics where you have to hide behind like barrels and move the barrels up through some lights so that the lights can't see you. Pretty cool, I would say. It's interesting, and it did catch my attention simply because, well, because it's this octopus style, which I think is pretty unique anyway, but also because it's a Konami title and it's a little bit different for them. But it's an interesting one. Had you guys heard of this before? Had you heard of Darwin's Paradox at all?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, and I think they showed it off in one of the recent directs, I believe.
did they? Well, I
Yeah.
missed that, or I didn't pay attention to it. So, thank
Am I
you.
right, Trev? Did we see this in one of them?
We might have. I might have missed it as well.
How did we
Which
miss that,
is
Trev?
funny because I like Metal Gear Solid. Maybe they didn't. Maybe when they showed it, they didn't emphasize enough of the connection.
Yeah, it
Which
could have been because I
I
think
mean, I get because Metal Gear Solid's is a mature game, and this looks more like a kid's game. So I can see why maybe they didn't.
yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, that's
highlight
probably
it.
true. It's still I don't know who it's aimed at. I don't know what the age rating is. It's probably more for not it's probably for everyone, but as in there's still, like I said, this octopus is getting squished. So I don't know if that clarifies his violence. It's not like but he's not it's not red blood though, because octopi, they don't have red blood, do they? Do they have blue blood? I don't know. When he explodes, it
I don't
looks
know.
blue to me.
In the eShop, it's listed as fantasy violence,
Yeah,
which
okay.
seems weird because it's an octopus.
Yeah. Yeah.
They exist.
I think because he's dealing with like I think there's some sort of conspiracy. Maybe it's like aliens or there's some AI thing happening. I don't know because I've only played the demo. It doesn't tell you obviously the full story, but there is something happening. These guards are not normal. They're not they're not human. There's something odd about them. and somehow the octopus has been embroiled into this kind of spy situation because he's just trying to get home. But at the same time, he's been given a mission. I don't know who's giving him this mission. He sneaks aboard a truck and then he transports to this new area. And then he reads a note from someone saying, hey, you need to infiltrate this base because something sus is happening. Not clear who is giving him these messages because it starts off quite realistic. He's trying to escape a bird that's diving down and sort of trying to snack on him. So that feels very realistic, as in birds probably do eat octopus that are on the, outside of the water. I don't know. And then this whole spy thing happens. So yeah.
Is it anything like the James Bond movie Octopussy?
Sure.
Well, you're saying spies and stuff, and
Yeah.
it makes me think.
You know
What's funny though?
Yeah. What's that?
Is I'm glad this exists because, like with Metal Gear, you could play it, you could go guns blazing and do whatever. But my favorite thing was I loved the stealth. I loved hiding and scooting around in a cardboard box and putting bodies I knocked out in a locker. I wasn't throwing them off cliffs like Kirk. That was crazy.
You haven't lived.
So it's like, I get, it can be a violent game, but I never played it that way because I love sneaking around. So I think they took that mechanic and put it in a family-friendly maybe game here. I think that's a great idea to just introduce more people to that style of gameplay. I know it's not for everyone, but I like that.
Yeah, and it works pretty well in this situation. I've enjoyed my time with the demo. It is pretty hard. Like, it does get quite difficult. Thankfully, there are save points. Not really save points, as in you're not saying please save here, but it auto saves quite regularly, which is great because once you die, you get taken back to the last auto save, which is generally not too far back, which I appreciate because I died quite a few times. My poor little octopus got squished a lot. And then as soon as you get seen by these machines when you're underwater, they just zap you and you explode. Or there's rats at one point that just consume you, and I'm like, oh, there's a rat. I wonder if he's dangerous. Yep, he just completely ate me. So there's a lot of danger, a lot of peril at play here. So we'll look forward to that coming out on April the 2nd and see what the full game is like. But the demo is available now.
Question. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Go.
I was going to say, how many demos have you downloaded so far this year now?
Downloaded? Maybe 10, but I haven't played them.
Goodness.
I haven't played them all.
Because I downloaded one, so you already got 9 up on me.
Yeah. Like I downloaded Monster Hunter Stories 3, for example. I haven't even tried it. So
that's the only one I downloaded.
Yeah, right. I thought it might be. Yeah. Yeah, I should give that one a go. Once it's passed, it's sort of like, well, is it really worth it? I like to play them before they come out because then I can talk about it on the show. But once the game is out, it's like, there's not much point playing the demo in my head, I think. So that one may not count.
You may get to talk about this one more. We do have a review code on the way for it. So it's yours if you want it.
I thought Trev was already reviewing that one. Oh, do you
Trev,
mean?
Did you already get one?
Do you mean
wait, the Darwin game?
Yeah, for Darwin's Paradox.
I thought you meant I have played the Darwin's Paradox one. I was talking about Monster Hunter Stories 3. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yes. Yeah, that's cool to know that we have a review code coming. Yeah.
Well, Jemma, you can take Darwin's Paradox because, when I hear Darwin, I think of Darwinian evolution, and I'm more about Lamarckian evolution.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, I thought you'd get that reference. It's a Simpsons reference.
Oh, I should. Who says that?
It was when they were debating about teaching creation in school, and they ended up, I forget how, but they ended up teaching just creationism in school. And Lisa's like, we should have oh, no. Maybe it was Flanders. I'm mixing it up, but he's like, well, I want an alternative to Darwinian evolution. And Principal Skinner's like, what? You mean Lamarckian evolution? And he's like, no, the Adam and Eve kind. Like, I guess it's too obscure a Simpsons reference if I can't even remember.
I do remember that episode, yes. I just didn't remember the name of what he said. No, thank you. Sorry, my bad.
I'll have to dig up a clip for you to put in so people don't think I'm losing it here.
I remember the episode. I do. Cool. Well, let's move on to the games we're playing. We have a few to go through. Let's start with Kirk. What would you like to talk about first?
Well, I want to do a wrap up on one of the games I would have wrapped up last week. It was a bad week for me to have no internet
Yeah.
because there are a couple games I completely have to gloss over. But go on to Pure Nintendo and check the reviews, and you'll see things that I covered, like what Fatal Frame 2 was reviewed and Fallout 4, and I have all my details up on that.
Mhm.
But of all the games that I've been playing, the one that I was most excited about as I started playing it, I'm now done with. The review is up, and that is Shadow Tactics Blades of the Shogun. And right now, it has passed Persona 3 to be my favorite Switch 2 game.
Wow. There you go. That's awesome. What did you end
Persona
up
gets thrown off the cliff.
Yeah.
That's it. It's the only game to let me do that.
Yeah.
You would think Fallout 4 would allow me to throw bodies off a cliff, but I couldn't find it.
No.
It's set in Massachusetts, so not many cliffs to be had, I guess.
Yeah.
Um,
What did you end up
yeah,
scoring this one? What did you score Shadow Tactics?
I gave it 9 out of 10.
Mhm.
Absolutely loved it. I thought, although I didn't use them, it had a great implementation of the Joy-Con mouse controls. This was a game that was originally developed for PC and Mac.
Mhm.
So, having that ability was great. I thought the story was a bit traditional, I think is the best way to say it without sounding derogatory. It's about samurais and loyalty and betrayal and honor. So it kind of follows that typical path. Great characters, wonderful games. And once I finished it and finished the DLC that you could purchase separately, standalone DLC, hopped right back into it to play it again because there are so many different ways to complete the missions that you end up finding more fun things to do just by taking a completely different approach. So yeah, it's a game I'm going to keep around for quite some time. I did mention that they have a lot of um, achievements that you can get, various goals to achieve, some of which I'm never going to get, but playing through the levels just to get one or two of those is also fun. So
Mm.
great game. I want to recommend it to anybody who's willing to take on, like they say, it's a brutal game. I don't think it is. It's because you could stop and think about it. Like to me, the hard games are where the more like platformers that are really challenging, where you just have to really get the skill down. This is you're going to have to stop and think about it, and that's hard. But if something doesn't work, just try something else. So it's
Mhm.
not really as difficult as people say it is when you take that approach.
Yeah. Makes sense. I'm really glad you liked it. That's awesome. I look forward to seeing this in your top 10 at the end of the year.
I don't expect it to be in Pure Nintendo's top 10, but it will be in mine, yes.
Yeah. Well, it might have been if we had the opportunity to play it, I suppose. Is there a demo?
Yeah.
Should I be trying the demo for this one?
There isn't, and I really think there should be. If they just made the first level a demo, I think they would sell so many more copies.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
And I told them so.
Oh, did you? Well, good on you. That's awesome. Speaking of mouse 2 controls, I forgot we did do a poll. I said we would do a poll 2 weeks ago, and we did, asking if people liked the controls, and 40% of people said yes, they did. Now, that doesn't mean that 60% said no. 0% said no, and 60% said they haven't tried. So, that's pretty good, I think.
Yep.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Did you have anything else to add before we move on to Trev?
Nope, just wanted to give it one more shout out before we move
Yeah.
on.
I wonder if listeners are playing that as well. I would love to know. And also, do you have any idea about sales? Like, has it been well received? Is it popular? Is it doing well? Do we know any of that?
I think it just came out this week. The official release may have been like
Oh,
Tuesday.
right. Oh, yeah, it was
So
the 17th, wasn't it? That's
yeah.
right. See, it's been like, this is an example where you had the code quite early, didn't you? Which is really good.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They gave
Yeah.
me this one well in advance. It
Yeah.
was great. They were
That's
great to work with.
Oh, that's fantastic. So it's only really been out a week, not even a week. So yeah, hopefully people pick it up and enjoy it. Yeah, that's great. Thank you, Kirk. Trev, how are you going with Mega Man Star Force Legacy Collection?
Yeah, I just wanted to give a quick update on this one because I did talk about it last week, and it's a little bit better, and I'll tell you why.
Cool.
The collection, has 3 games, right? Plus variants of each game a la Pokemon. So I think there's a total of I don't know, 7 games maybe, but there's really just 3 core games. First one I put a few hours in, wasn't clicking with it. So I'm like, all right, tried the second one, same thing, wasn't clicking with it. Very similar to the first one. And I'm like, I'm not going to play through 3 RPGs, in full. My time's too valuable, right? So I loaded up the third one, and finally it got a little bit better.
Hmm.
Not where I'm like, ooh, this is, one of the best RPGs I've ever played. But a lot of the things that bugged me about the first two games are downplayed here. The lead character, I feel like he's more likable, and granted, it might just be because he's more developed. I'm playing the third game, right? He's had two games to mature and progress, but um, whatever the case, I like him more. The game gets off to a quicker start. I don't feel like I'm slowly going through tutorial after tutorial and being interrupted by cutscenes and conversations. So I'm like, yeah, this is a game that respects my time more. Not to mention, it looks better. The first two games I thought looked like Game Boy Advance games, and the Game Boy Advance, looked fine, right? But this one looked more like a DS game. It had some changes that I appreciated, and it just felt more unique too. It didn't feel like I was playing the same game again. So I'm like,
Mm.
okay. I'm like, this is the game that's gonna ultimately sell me on this collection, if not on this series. So yeah, I just wanted to give that as an update. It comes out on the 27th, and hopefully it won't be all negative. I'll try to balance my own quirks with just looking at the collection as a whole, because it's a quality collection. It's got extras and options, and you can tell that they put in stuff that fans of these games are really going to appreciate.
That's awesome. Well, I'm glad it's turned out a little bit better for you.
A little bit,
'Cause
yeah.
yeah, yeah. Thank you, Trev. I was going to talk about a game called Vampire Therapist. I didn't realize it's actually incompatible with Switch 2. So I've never come across this before. So I'm
Wait,
gonna I
explain.
yeah, yeah, well, so this one came out about a month ago. It came out in February, and it is, I believe, like a visual novel style where you're a therapist who's helping vampires, something like that. I haven't had a chance to play it simply because I downloaded it, went to play it. This is just yesterday. I just got a black screen, and I'm like, what is going on? Why is the game not loading? So I quit it, restarted it, still a black screen. I started pressing random buttons in case it was just like loading. I found a menu. I pressed like X or something, and I got a menu, and it's like save, load, cancel, go back, or something like that. I'm like, okay, and then I went load, but there's nothing to load because I haven't previously played it. There's no save data. Yeah, and then I googled it, and I'm like, oh, it doesn't work on Switch 2, and it does say so on the eShop. It actually says check compatibility with
Oh, how
Nintendo Switch 2.
about that?
Unsupported. It is unsupported.
It's kind of
So
tiny, though. You wouldn't necessarily see
yeah,
it,
yeah,
like, if you don't
yes,
scroll down.
which is very interesting. I've not seen a game that hasn't worked before. Which, yeah, very interesting. They are working on this. Apparently, they do know about this. They are working on it. There will be some sort of patch. I will have to, and so the reason I haven't played it is because my Switch, I do have the Switch, the original Switch still, but it was dead because the charger doesn't work anymore for the Switch. So it still sits in its dock next to the TV, but it doesn't actually dock because the charger doesn't work, which is really annoying. So I've charged my Switch, but unfortunately by then it was too late, and I wasn't playing it last night. So I will play it on the Switch and review it. But yeah, Vampire Therapist doesn't work on Switch too.
Yeah.
I just haven't come across that. Have either of you had that situation before?
No, because the first, aside from when it first came out, and there was, Nintendo was announcing that not all games, Switch games, would work on the Switch too. I haven't seen a single game since then where it was listed as being incompatible.
Yeah, yeah, same. And it's just because I don't know, it looks like it's, pretty standard, menus, text, you make
Ooh.
choices. I don't know why it wouldn't work. I don't know what's happened.
I
But it
think they need to fix it and re-release it as a Vampire Therapist Turbo Wildcard edition or whatever.
yeah, yeah. I know, and it's been out a month, which is why does it still not work after a month? That's a bit interesting. Obviously, it's a small game. I think I don't know. I've got the AU eShop in front of me, so it's $22.50 in Australia. Must be about
Looks like
15
it's,
or so.
Yeah,
yeah,
$15.
$14.99.
In the US, yeah, that makes sense. So I don't think it's a huge game. But yeah, I just don't know why it doesn't work. Maybe they haven't done a lot of Switch games in the past, this team, or they've obviously never done a Switch 2 title, this publisher. It's from
Well, it
Ultimate
looks like
Games, but anyway.
Ultimate
Oh,
Games.
Ultimate Games.
Are we familiar with them?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
am.
Okay.
They generally speaking, I don't love the games they publish. They are kind of lower quality, although there has been a few exceptions.
Okay.
Yeah, that's about all I have to say. I guess.
Yeah, this isn't the like if you told me that you were reviewing a game from Ultimate Games, I would have never considered Vampire Therapist would be amongst them.
Right.
It's not the type of game I associate with them. So maybe I don't know enough about them.
Okay.
It looks like
Well,
the developer, Little Boat Games, that's their only game they have. So I could see why they'd want to attach themselves to a publisher that has a lot of representation on the eShop, which
yeah.
Ultimate Games does. They have a ton of games on there, but
Yeah, I just thought you'd want to get it compatible before release. I find that very
so are you going to
interesting.
transfer it to your Switch One or load it up on their game?
Well, I'll
What do you
have
call it?
to. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't played the Switch 1 since I've had the Switch 2. So
You said it's not charging or something?
well, the charger's busted, so it doesn't charge. The Switch is fine. It's the charger. So I charged it last night on a separate charger, but the charger that came with the Switch itself, that still sits connected to the Switch dock, doesn't actually work anymore. I don't know what happened. I don't know why. It just suddenly stopped one day, and it stopped when I bought the Switch 2. It was very odd timing.
Oh,
You
Nintendo
made it
bricked it.
mad,
Yeah,
angry.
it was like feeling slighted. It was like, I've been replaced. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm just. When I held the Switch, because I picked up the Switch last night to see if it was working, it wasn't because it was flat. But oh my god, it's so small compared to the Switch 2. I'm just like, wow. I've been, yeah. The Switch 2 screen is so much bigger and better. This is going to be hard, but it's fine. I won't judge the game based on the screen size. Yeah. Anyway, so hopefully I can report back on that, the actual game next week. But yeah, just thought that was very interesting that it doesn't work on the Switch too. So if you were desperately keen for Vampire Therapist, make sure you play it on Switch 1. But let's move on back to Kirk for another game. What else are you playing this week?
I'm going to do my best to try to explain this game
Okay.
to you guys and our listeners. I'm playing a game which I believe I've heard her name said enough that I think it's Etranga Overlord. Etranga Overlord. It's hard to hear because it's a very weird word and all the dialogue is spoken in Japanese. So, but okay. It's about this woman named Etrange von Rosenberg, who at the very beginning of the game is beheaded for a crime. We don't know what it is. She goes down to hell, realizes where she is, gets upset because she doesn't have any snacks, fights some demons, and basically gets them to join her by giving them names, and then steals a vehicle. She commandeers like some kind of big truck and starts driving these people and anyone else she picks up all around hell to take it over because that's who she is.
That is.
While all this is going on, the characters occasionally break out into musical numbers.
Okay. That's it.
There you go. That's your premise. It's so weird. It's developed by let's see if I get this right. Sohei Niikawa, who some people may know as having worked on another musical game called Rhapsody, a musical adventure, which was remade for Switch recently. Originally came out in 1998.
I remember
Has
that one.
also
Yeah.
worked on some Disgaea games,
Okay.
Disgaea Hour of Darkness.
Mm-hmm.
So been around, and it has that kind of art style to it also, but it's just this really bizarre, funny, always moving like in directions you don't expect it to story, like the character who we're supposed to sympathize with really is kind of a bully, but not in a I'm a mean person. It's I get what I want because of who
Mm.
I am. And, come along and join me because, that's what's going to happen. The really cool it's basically an action game. You're presented with levels and you have to fight various people. You're given goals. Most of them you just need to clear everyone out. And some of them you need to pick up like gears and drop them in a box before the enemy get enough gears to drop in their box. The interesting thing about it is this it's kind of like a rhythm band. It's like there are these areas where you can see this flow of it's like a music stanza, and your power ups are in that, and they kind of go around in a circle. There will be bombs, there will be cakes to give you extra life, there will be lightning bolts you could use to throw energy onto things, and they kind of spin around that. You don't have to run in it, but when you need something, you can run to that and use it. And if you use them all up, then I'm not sure yet. I'm into World 3, and I don't know if you can use them all up or if it just really slows down how quickly they come back. But so that's how you're powering yourself up. There comes a point where there'll be like little platforms that you can hop on, and then you ride these music stanzas over onto another island where you could do different things. That's the really interesting mechanic about it. And it's really built around that in that you can like power up those abilities. You can determine um, what abilities even appear. So if you don't need bombs in one of them, you can take the bombs out before you even go into battle and put something else in. And that basically is a lot of the gameplay. Also, multiple characters, of course, with different abilities. I've got maybe 8 now, I think. There's a fellow who's really good with guns. There's a healer.
Do you have
There's a cat.
I was gonna say, do you have the cat? The black
Yes,
cat?
the
Yeah.
cat comes right away. And that, by the way, is her cat,
Oh, okay.
which also died and ended up in hell. And
Wait, what
they
did the
discuss
cat
this too
do?
because the funny thing about it is she really didn't do anything wrong. She was betrayed, as we learn in song,
Okay.
by someone who kind of set her up because the other character wanted the power that she has. And so she didn't really do anything wrong, but she still ends up in hell. And so she's like, well, why did this happen? So now she's mad at God. It's like, why didn't you step in and do something about this? Because I shouldn't be here. So that's another thing. They're like, going to go have a conversation with him. it's but it's also joyful and weird and quirky.
Mm.
So I'm really liking it so far. I have a feeling that if the combat doesn't really start to change up, or we don't get like when you're in Hyrule, you've got your snow, you got your mountains, you've got your forests, you've got the volcanoes. This is all hell, and
Yeah.
everything looks almost exactly the same on every single level. So the
Mm.
visuals are really starting to wear on me a bit.
Mhm.
But still just having so much fun with the story. And boy, every time they go into a musical number, they're very short. I mean, they're singing for like 30 seconds,
Yeah.
but it's just so weird that I can't help but be amused by the whole thing.
Well, guess what? There is a demo for this.
There you go.
So maybe I'll try this during the week. It comes out on the 26th, so Thursday, same as Mario Wonder. That's really interesting and quirky. It also has fantasy violence. So there you go.
Well, yeah, you can't steal cars in hell without, getting the ESRB after you, I guess.
I would have thought the higher beings that watch humanity would have known she was betrayed and sent her to the right place. But anyway,
Maybe we'll learn something about her. And,
maybe.
there is a reason,
Yeah.
I don't know. She is, like I said, she's kind of mean in,
Yeah, it doesn't sound like
if
she's
she doesn't
completely
get what she
innocent.
wants.
Yeah.
Maybe the
Just one
cat
other
did
thing I should
something.
mention real quickly too is that it does offer 4-player option, online 4-player. That's the way to do it because you will always have 4 characters and you're only controlling one of them. And the AI is going to do okay, but as you're looking, you can see someone's health is really low. You got to hurry up and switch over to that person and then get some of the cake and then switch back. So I think if you actually had 4 online players and you're working together, this would be even more fun.
Mm. Yeah, that makes sense. And the screenshots there look pretty cool. Is it sort of the action's pretty fast paced and real time, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and very basic. You've got attack, you've got a special attack, you can dodge, or not dodge. I guess it's dodging. It's more like just moving really quickly in a different direction. So your typical kind of combat thing, and there is local, single system multiplayer also. It doesn't need to be online.
Okay, that's cool. Thank you. That's very interesting. I do love that. What a quirky game. I love those kind of things though, where it's completely different to what anything else you've played,
Yeah.
story-wise at least. So that's neat.
Yeah, and this is published by NIS America. They're really good at bringing us these kind of games. So,
Yeah.
if you're a fan of the stuff they brought before, definitely give this one a look.
Yeah.
Trevor, were you going to say something before I interrupted?
No, it bothers me that the cat's there too. Like, what did he do?
just by association.
Yeah. There's a
Don't the
funny
cats
moment
have 9
too.
lives? Like the cat's on his last life? Or
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
maybe we'll learn. He gives a bit of a speech about why he's there. And I won't give away any spoilers, but I will say that the cat is more angry about the fact that no one seems to care that he can talk now. Like, they're all just like, okay, well, so tell us about it. He's like, wait, nobody is freaked out that you can understand what I'm saying. Like, yeah, I guess that would have affected me more too.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you. That comes out this week, so maybe during the week people will play it. That would be nice. I will just quickly mention one more game that I've been playing, which I did mention a few weeks ago. I'm a bit behind on my review, but I've got back into Mini Shoot Adventure. Is it Adventure or Adventures? I'm not sure now. Might be Adventure, which is the top-down twin stick shooter that was highlighted in the Indie Direct recently and came out that day. So it is out now. It's really fun. I'm just loving this game. It's going to get a good review from me. I think at the time when I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago, I said I was playing it on the Switch, as in Switch 2, but playing the Switch version on the Switch 2. I did go and download the Switch 2 update, which is a free update, and didn't really notice any difference. it's it's fine.
you got to put it in boost mode.
Yeah, well, I did. This is the game I put in boost mode, and it also was fine. Like, it's good already. It's not like, it's pretty cartoony. It's top down. You're a tiny little spaceship. But if you like twin stick shooters and you like top down Zelda games, I would say this is the game for you because it's so cool. Like, it's not that much Zelda-ish. You're not a character who walks around and talks to people, but you do interact with other ships, and you do kind of dungeons, and there's puzzles to solve, but there's also a lot of shooting. And I think I mentioned this as well, but I am just loving the accessibility. You can customize it so heavily. You can make yourself invincible. You can make it auto shoot. I've powered up the upgrades you get are really neat. So you can choose where to send your power ups, like what to level up, kind of thing. And as you get stronger, you can sort of travel further because some of the enemies are pretty hard. But it's just such a fun little title. And there's kind of 4 main dungeons from what I can see, and I'm about 3/4 of the way through that now, so almost finished with it. So yeah, it's really fun. The other one I wanted to quickly mention was Pokopia, of course, which I've been playing as well. I just wanted to highlight that our review should be online by the time this podcast airs. I didn't review it, but someone in the team, Rachel, did. She loved it, so check out our review when that's up. And I did a quick poll on YouTube just to ask, are you playing Pokopia? 15% said they're not interested. 62% said they're not playing, but they want to, and 23% said they are playing it. So that means 85% or thereabouts want to or are playing it. This game is obviously doing quite well. Since you went on last week, Kirk, did you have anything? Did you know or want to say anything about Pokopia? Just because that was the big thing from last week. Before we do close up.
No, yeah. I guess in that regard, it was good. It was that was the episode.
Yeah. I won't go on about it anymore. I am really enjoying it, but it's there's so much to do. So this is the game that's going to be a real time sink for people. And you see that online where people are like, I just wanted to do this one thing and play for 15 minutes, and then it's like 3 hours later. So I totally get that feeling. Yeah. Sorry,
Is
Trevor.
it a spoiler to say that we gave it a 10? If it is, you can cut me out.
I don't know. Maybe. No. I think it's
Well, the only
worthy.
reason I say that
Yeah.
is
We don't give
I
many
think if
10s,
a
right?
game gets a 10,
Mm-hmm.
maybe we are ethically obligated to check it out, Kirk, because I know you're
Well,
not that into it. I wasn't that into it, but it's getting a 10.
I
Wait a
know.
minute. I'm going to start giving all kinds of games 10s now just to make you guys play it.
Well, this is why I got it, because I had seen online that it was doing so well. I didn't know we were going to give it a 10 at that point, but I had seen other outlets give it 9s or 10s, and I'd seen the reception. So I did feel like I needed to try this for that very reason, that it could very well end up being in our list of top games of this year. So yeah, it's worthy. It's a really worthy game. So yeah, we did give it a 10. Rachel loved it. It is a wonderful game. It's just very cute, and there's a lot to do. I think she mentioned that I loved one thing she mentioned in her review is that the Pokemon all are different. Like it's not like when you talk to NPCs and they kind of say the same thing in a different way. These Pokemon all seem to have their own. Like I mentioned Skyther, right? Remember how I said Skyther? He always looks so angry. He's so cool in this game. And he says these really cool things. But he sounds different to what Bulbasaur says. Bulbasaur's really sweet. And Charmander's quite funny. Like they have their own little personalities. I'm like, how did they do that? That's a lot of work to put so much personality into all of these different characters. So yeah, I think they've done a really, really good job. And the story is very interesting. Like I mentioned, there's obviously crafting to it, and you can craft to your heart's delight. Like you can make this place your own. But if you're following the story, that's another element that you might be more into, like the exploration and the discovery and helping the Pokemon and building the Pokemon centers and all the rest of it, building the habitats. Yeah, you can just do that, or you can just build. So it's quite versatile. Anyway, sorry, I said I wouldn't go on about it, and I've gone on about it. But that does bring us to the end of the show, though. Did you guys have anything else you'd like to add before we do close things off for the week?
Yep, I don't think so. Except I will say that I'm a guy who likes to put together lists that amuse me. I have listed my
Ooh.
favorite games on all systems that I have ever played.
Oh, okay.
And while you were talking, I went back through there real quickly just to check. I have in my life only given one 10 out of 10 to a
Really?
video game.
Okay.
Only one.
Are you going to reveal that, or do you want to? Is that a tease for next
Well,
week?
you won't be surprised when I tell you. It is Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn.
Okay, I
For the
thought it
Wii.
would be a Fire Emblem title.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Numerous 9.5s, but never a 10. So
Mm.
I have nothing that I can make you guys play.
Well, it's tricky. I mean, this might be a good conversation for another episode, but with reviewing, when do you give a 10? Like, how do you make that call? I've only given one 10, and it was, Trev probably knows. Do you remember what it was?
Odyssey?
It was, yeah. Super Mario
Wow.
Odyssey, yeah. So it's a tough call, because like you're always thinking, I don't know what you guys think, but when you give 9s, 9.5s, you're like, this game is pretty much perfect. But do you think there's like room for improvement, or there's just it's not? Do you know what I mean? How do you?
It's not Radiant Dawn.
It's
That's probably what it is.
yeah. It's tough. It's a tough call.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I've only given 2 10s, and they were both 2 older games. I think one was A Link to the Past when it came on the Virtual Console.
Oh yeah.
And I think the other was Broken Sword, which is an update of a game that's 30 years old. So I guess for me, as the game stood the test of time,
Yeah.
and it's impossible to say when we're reviewing new games because we don't know. They're brand new.
Yeah, that's it. It's very hard, honestly. Well, that is a very interesting way to end the show. So thank you for that, Kirk. We would love to see your list at some point. I don't know if you want to put that into the magazine or something.
I don't know if that's really anything our readers should care about.
Okay. Thank you both for joining me this week. Thank you, listeners. We hope you enjoyed the show. We'd love to know what you're playing, what you thought of all the news and games that we brought to your attention this week. If you'd like to follow us on social media, you can do so over on Blue Sky and Instagram. If you'd like to support us, you can head on over to patreon.com/PureNintendo, and you can subscribe to our magazine. Our current issue is on its way out, Kirk. Yes.
Well, we've got some
Printing.
some printing issues that we're trying to sort through.
Okay.
Once those are done, it'll go out very quickly.
Yes, so we're trying to get through those. It's all ready to go. The printer's holding us up for some reason. Please excuse our delay there. What does Nintendo like to say when they're really polite with their
Oh,
delays?
please understand.
Please understand. Yes.
You have to
Please
bow
understand.
while you're doing it.
Yeah, that's it. I'm bowing. I am bowing right now. Thank you very much. And until next week, game on, everybody. Bye.
So long.